Hi everyone, my name is Krista Burton and I'm a psychology and sociology criminology student at Ohio University. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a topic that's very close to my heart. In a previous course, Punishment in Society, I researched and wrote an op-ed on women with mental illness in Ohio's prisons. I found a lot of information that was encouraging and some information that pushed me to want to learn more as well as make a change within the system. For this presentation, I'll be discussing women with mental illness in the court system, specifically mental health courts. With that being said, I'll be discussing mental health courts in general, how someone might begin their journey in a mental health court, the treatment of women with mental illness in the court system, and what life might look like after they've completed their time in a treatment program. Before I get to the details about women with mental illness and mental health courts, I want to talk about the criminal justice system and mental health courts in general. There have been lots of studies and information collected on women in the criminal justice system. This information and these statistics help researchers and court officials to understand the trends that are occurring in the system. However, there has been much less research regarding mental health courts, gender differences, and effectiveness in general. You might be wondering, well, what do we know about the differences between the criminal justice system as a whole and mental health courts? What are emerging trends that can be seen across the US? To answer these questions, I'm going to need the help of a few graphs.
Prison Policy Initiative made this graph that portrays the increase of women in the criminal justice system as compared to men. As of recently, this trend has plateaued more for women, but there are still more women in prison than men when examining the population of men and women in the United States currently. This trend puts more pressure on mental health courts as women are entering the criminal justice system at a higher rate than men and are twice as likely to have a mental illness if they have entered the criminal justice system. With that being said, a letter written by Harvard Medical School discussed mental health courts and concluded that almost half of the participants in treatment programs are female.
Multiple studies have shown that an alarming number of individuals who enter the criminal justice system have a mental illness, and some individuals have co-occurring mental illnesses. According to a study done by Cathari and colleagues, most of those individuals are women. Mental health courts utilize something called therapeutic justice. It's a type of justice that focuses on the treatment of the individual and less on the punishment for the crime. To help visualize the possible paths one might take to enter the mental health court, I have a diagram to show.
This diagram was used in the behavioral health and criminal justice systems identifying new opportunities for information exchange report. There is not one direct route to the entrance of a mental health court. Most individuals have different experiences, and I have learned through my research for this project that all mental health courts are different. They've been changed and improved upon based on the needs of their respective communities. With that being said, this diagram portrays a few different paths that could lead someone to enter a mental health court. I'm going to briefly touch upon the most common way. The first step would be that an individual gets arrested and charged for the crime they've committed. Then the individual would go through a mental health evaluation. If their charge or charges, as well as their diagnosis, fits within the parameters of their local mental health court, then that individual could be referred to a mental health court for treatment as an alternative to incarceration.
Mental health courts use treatment teams to help further their clients' success in the program. These teams work tirelessly to put together a program and schedule that they believe will be most beneficial for their client. This is especially important for women who enter a mental health court. A study completed by Cathari and colleagues discussed the idea that women are more likely to be referred to a mental health court for rehabilitative services because they are seen as less threatening than their male counterparts. In the same study, the researchers discussed the advantages for women in mental health courts in relation to their family lives. They report that 77% of detained women are the primary caregivers in their family. This means that women who have been incarcerated are not able to help their families. We know that losing family ties can greatly impact one's mental health. This fact alone makes the option of a mental health court for women who need treatment so much more important. Studies have shown that women tend to complete treatment programs at a higher rate than men. In general, those women who complete the programs tend to commit less crime. With that being said, the women who are able to participate in mental health sanctioned treatment programs saw improvements to their lives and the lives of their families.
I think that it is important to note that while I found a lot of valuable information, there was not as much information on minority women. These were two of the only graphics I could find that talked about gender as well as race. These graphs are portraying the rate of mental health indication. In other words, the amount of individuals who have had a mental health problem. As I mentioned, white women are overrepresented in mental health courts, which means that there was less research done on minority groups of women. This made synthesizing information on the treatment of women in mental health courts a little bit harder because this information is not completely generalizable. I did find information suggesting that women of color were slightly less likely to enroll or be referred to mental health courts. However, like I mentioned, there was not an abundance of research to go off of. More research is certainly needed in this area, and changes to the court system should be made accordingly as well.
As a tie to my previous project, I found that Ohio has a moderate rate of adults with mental illness and a high access to care for those individuals. After talking to my professor, I found that Ohio is, in fact, one of the most progressive states when it comes to mental health treatment, including mental health courts. So hats off to Ohio. Before I sign off, I would like to recap the information that I went over, as well as discuss a call for information. Mental health courts have been shown to be more effective in reducing recidivism for the women who are able to participate in them. We have found that white women tend to be overrepresented in a mental health court, while women of color tend to be referred and enrolled less in treatment programs. However, in general, women tend to do very well in treatment programs and see better results than the men who participate. It's important to note that the popularity of mental health and mental health courts is growing. This means that community interest and change will also increase. With that being said, it did take me a great deal of time to find this information. Mental health courts were created to help reduce recidivism, to help each client live a productive life while staying in their treatment program, and to help lower the costs associated with incarceration. Overall, more research and investigation should go into determining the best course of treatment for individuals who enter a mental health court, specifically women and minority groups, as it has been found that white women are overrepresented. The more information that is collected, the better the system will be able to serve the people who enter it, and then those people will be able to live more productive lives.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching my presentation. I hope that you enjoyed it. Here I have all of the references that I used for this project. If anyone wants to look up more information, here are the articles, images, documents that I used for this project. Thank you again.